Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to Bing Search Engine Optimization. My name is Alan Emro. I'm here with my co-presenter, Bethany Bay. We're going to take a few moments just to tell you who we are and why we are here presenting to you today. We are actually with a company called Cardinal Path. My title is Associate Director for the Digital Marketing Team. I actually spent 5 years with Microsoft in the Microsoft Advertising Group, spanning both Seattle and London. I worked extensively in both the paid side of search engine marketing, and currently with my role with Cardinal Path, we are a web analytics consultancy firm, and myself and Bethany, as she'll attest to as well, we do quite a lot of seminars and outreach where we speak on not only search engine marketing, but also search engine optimization. Today is really geared towards talking through some of the fundamentals in terms of enabling your site to rank well and to be indexed well within search engine results. So we're very looking forward to going through that with you. Without further ado, I'd like to present Bethany. Bethany, how are you doing today?
Feeling good. How are you doing, Alan?
I'm good.
Thank you. So I'll introduce myself really quick. So my name's Bethany, and I am a digital marketing consultant at Cardinal Path. I work with clients on both search engine marketing and search engine optimization. And when I'm not doing client work, I am traveling around the US and Canada doing some training sessions through Cardinal Path Training Academy on those topics.
Wonderful. Well, without further ado, I'm going to talk a little bit about the flow of the day today. We've got 4 main modules. Again, this is really geared towards getting started with search engine optimization. We have some key fundamental topics to take you through, starting with introduction to SEO or search engine optimization. We're going to talk about some of the aspects, some of the terminology that we'll use throughout the morning. We're going to talk through some of the search engine ranking factors, and of course that is a laundry list of factors involved, but we're going to try and deduce some of the main things that you can keep in mind. We'll move into the importance of keywords and keyword research. For any of you that were listening in on our search engine marketing presentation, we spoke a lot about the importance of keywords. In the SEO world, keywords are absolutely paramount as well. This is how we again articulate to the actual engine itself, the content on our pages, how important are certain content within our sites, and how can we make sure that the engine is ranking that well for us. Then Bethany's going to get into on-page planning. So how can we make sure that the content on our page is structured well, is showing up appropriately in search engine results. And then finally, we'll talk a little bit about some of the technical SEO tools and issues that we can solve for. Again, how do we ensure that we're using things like the robots.txt file correctly? How can we ensure that we are keeping an eye on any redirection issues? All of these types of things that at the end of the day help to not just rank well. We want to move away from the idea of how well are we ranking, but really how well is our site positioned to allow users to find us and find the content available on our site. That's really what we're after. We want to move away from the concept of trying to game the system or appear number one for every search possible. When you really think about what's important to us, it's about finding the right information, and that's what we really want to touch on today. So, that being said, for today's session, who is this really geared towards? Well, we're looking to all of you that are new to the world of SEO. That's really how we've catered today. It's to give you an overview and make sure that you're setting off on the right foot. Site developers, content writers, again, when we talk about the concepts of keywords and keyword research, this is really fundamental to ensuring that we are looking at that we are looking for the right types of indicators of how is our content being structured. Are we assuming the right types of keywords and phrases that will match well to what folks are actually looking for as they browse engines and they browse the web. We've got a number of different resources we want to point you to. First of all is Bing Webmaster Tools. Any of you that are site owners or working with a particular site, if you haven't already, I recommend getting signed up or verified with Bing Webmaster Tools. There's a number of different functions and functionality that we will go through and talk about how useful this is from the perspective of being able to assess site performance and deduce some of the things that we can do from an SEO perspective to improve, again, indexing of our site, the findability of content on our site. There's another resource here, Moz's Beginner's Guide to SEO. This is an absolutely fundamental and fantastic read for those of you looking to get a further understanding of a lot of the concepts that we go through here today. We don't have a lot of time to cover a large breadth of information, so we really want to encourage folks to look elsewhere as well. And then, of course, you can always access a lot of this training content elsewhere. We're going to be posting up at the end of the session how you can, well, actually, I'll jump to it right now. In terms of earning Microsoft Virtual Academy points, you can do that here. The code for this in today's session is Bing Search. This is live for the next month, so I absolutely encourage you to utilize this as well. So that being said, we've introduced ourselves. We're really excited to be here today. We want to start off nice and easy with an introduction to search engine optimization and what that means. We're going to go through in this first module talking about the Bing search engine itself. We're going to talk a little bit more about some very easy terminology that will come to play throughout the rest of the morning. I need to apologize in advance. We are going to say the word content probably about 10,000 times today. So that is, and the reason for that is because it is absolutely fundamental to how we ensure that our sites are in fact indexing and performing well and ranking well. And then we will talk a little bit in this very first module about ranking factors. And again, there are a lot of them. Bing actually utilizes what we're told is in the thousands of ranking factors, and we're going to talk about how we identify these and what are the really important and top level fundamentals that we're going to want to ensure our sites are really well designed and prepped for. That being said, there's a couple themes to today, and there's a few things I want you to keep in mind as we go through this module and the subsequent modules. There's three main facets of this that I find really important. I know Bethany will agree with me on this. The first is accessibility. So when we think about our website and ensuring that we are ranking well, or we are showing up for really the right searches. So we want to ensure that people are able to find content that is related to what they're looking for. That is the whole goal and design of a search engine itself. Our job in terms of being a good search engine optimizer for our site is to ensure that our site is accessible, to make sure that Bing is able to understand A, what's on the site, and B, can they deduce and ensure that it's, if it is fresh and relevant, that we're showing up very well in search engine results. The next piece is about usability, and so I'm sure a lot of you that are either site developers or that are working, any of us that are working with a company or are working with a site itself, understand the importance of navigability and being able to move through a website easily and quickly, and making sure that our users, once they get to our website, whether it's through a search result or whether it's just going direct to the site, absolutely important and fundamental that we're able to help them find content and move through and navigate to the things that they're looking for. And then the last piece, our favorite word of the day, which is content, ensuring that you've got quality content, that it's fresh, that it's updated regularly, and again, that it is well representative of what those kind of keyword language of demand, or those keywords that folks are looking for, that we are representing that both in the actual content itself, that we're representing it in a lot of the headers, a lot of the meta tags that we'll talk through in subsequent sessions. So again, today is really about ensuring that we're thinking through the real high-level fundamentals of what at the end of the day is important, and it really comes down to good quality content and usability. It wouldn't be a day about search engines if we didn't first start talking about what is Bing itself. I'm sure a lot of you are already familiar with the Bing search engine. It's very near and dear to my heart, as I started at Microsoft back when it was still MSN Search. And so Bing is the search platform for Microsoft. Again, the whole goal of this search engine is to enable folks on different devices, desktops and laptops and their mobile phones, to be able to get answers to the questions that they're looking for. So our job, again, as SEOs, as optimizers, is to make sure that that content is readily available, that Bing is able to index and find the information and then understand it and relay it back to folks as they search for that content. I also want to talk about kind of the whole ecosystem at large, which is, when we think about the Bing ecosystem, not only is there the search engine providing relevant and results to folks as they browse the web, but there's also the concept of Bing Ads, so the paid search marketing platform. We talked about this in another Jumpstart program, but it's very important to realize not only is Bing serving up natural organic listings, and we'll use that again as well, but it's also serving up paid advertisements based on these same keyword searches or search queries that folks are looking for. And so as we look at search engine results, we're seeing not only all of the information that Bing has indexed and deduced is very appropriate for that search, for that particular search query, but then all of the paid advertisements that are also being triggered by those same queries. So anyone also interested in knowing more about the Bing Ads platform, there is another Jumpstart on this. There is another Jumpstart program all about this, and I also encourage you to look for other materials on the paid marketing platform as well. Now, another very cool thing that has happened in the last few years since my days on MSN search is the Yahoo Bing network. Back in 2010, Microsoft teamed up with Yahoo to provide search engine results across both engines. So now, as you search for anything on Bing.com or Yahoo.com, you're actually being served search results from the same engine, coming from Bing. There are a whole list of partner sites as well that is relevant when we're thinking about actual advertising through the Bing Ads network. And so again, I would encourage you, if you're interested in understanding how to show results on some of those partner sites, by all means, please take a look further into the Bing Ads platform as well. But I want to make sure everybody is very, very familiar with the idea that not only are we optimizing for search engine results on Bing.com, but we're very interested in how our results are displaying on Yahoo as well. Very fundamental. And then in terms of the Yahoo Bing network, the really great news here as well is just how large and vast and expansive this is. What I have here on the screen are some of the US numbers, and we can see here 158 million unique searches per month. We've got 5.6 billion monthly searches, and right now the Yahoo Bing network is encapsulating about 29% share of the market. So if you think about how folks are searching, there is just a lot of volume coming through the Yahoo Bing network. And so in terms of ensuring that our sites are well optimized, that's why we're going to focus so much today on Bing and how to make sure that we are set up for success on that engine. A lot of times when we think about SEO and we think about search engines, we're always talking about rankings, we're always talking about search share. So I told you that the combined kind of Bing presence, which includes Yahoo and Microsoft Search or Bing Search, is a combined total of both of these engines. And so a lot of times we're focused in on performance numbers from ComScore and sites like this that aggregate search share. As you can see here, we're focusing our attention on this combined number because that's, again, where we're able to ensure that we are showing really strong search engine results. It's a significant source of traffic. The Search Alliance has really helped to combine the effort here, and it really is a growing market share. All right, let's move a little bit into terminology now. For some of you, this might be old hat. You might be very well familiar with some of these things, and for some of you, this might be brand new. I absolutely assure you it's foundational, and these are going to come into play throughout the rest of this session. The first one is Search Engine Results Page, or SERP, or really what we end up calling it all the time, which is SERP. This is a list of the web pages that appear in response to a keyword search. In short, what is this? When I perform a search on Bing.com, what are my results? How does everything look on screen? And we're all very familiar probably with the way these are displayed. We have our paid advertisements across the top and right side of the page, and then we have all of our organic listings or natural listings. That's what we're keyed in on today. These natural organic listings are, again, a combined effort of Bing to essentially crawl the web, and I'll talk about what a crawler is, and index all of the available web pages that it can get to. So that being said, let's talk about what a crawler is. A crawler is a computer program that basically walks through links on the web. So it's going to go page by page by page. So we start on a web page, and there's all sorts of links stemming from that web page to other sites. And the Bing crawler is going to simply go through and start indexing or looking for every subsequent page it's able to move to from all of these links, and it's going to start building what we call an index of the internet. It sounds like a very, very large job. The Bing crawlers are working tirelessly around the clock, and probably not getting paid enough for it to do exactly this. The next step is called indexation, and what this is about, again, as this crawler is moving through from page to page and linking outward, it's going to start building a repository of all of these pages. Because whenever we search or whenever we perform a search query, Bing is not going out and indexing all these pages on the fly. It's basically going through a cached repository of all the index pages where it understands what's on those pages and what is or is not relevant to this particular search, and it's grabbing that in a fraction of a second. That's why we're able to show results so quickly. And as it does that, the final step is called ranking. And I think that, again, I said earlier, I'm hoping that folks don't focus too much on the idea of how do I rank at the top of the page? How do I improve my ranking? I promise you, with really good quality content, with good site structure, it's kind of an investment. It's like your parents telling you, you invest when you're young and it will pay off down the road. Or at least my dad tells me that all the time. I promise you, focusing on fundamentals that help establish a strong base, that's what we're looking for. And that will lead to better rankings and higher rankings down the line. Next thing is bots, or really web crawlers for Bing specifically. And what are they? Well, I already said this. These are computer programs that are going from link to link, moving from page to page, in order to build an extensive index of the web. And so as these work, I've got 4 listed here. First one is Bing Bot, and this is the standard crawler that Bing uses to access and move through all of these different pages. The MSN bot is essentially a retired version of what is now the Bing bot. It's still utilized for some media files and finding a few other types of content on the web. But by and large, when we think about how do we make sure our web pages are very accessible for Microsoft and for Bing search? Well, we're thinking about the Bing bot. We're wanting to make sure that it's able to see our content, that it's able to understand our website has 3,000 pages, and I want to make sure the Bing bot is able to see all of these things. There's the Ad ID X bot. What is this really used for? Well, this is used to crawl through the ad network and find quality control and assess, are Bing ads actually serving the pages that they are saying they are, and essentially ensuring that the whole paid search side of the business is functioning as it should. And then the last one is Bing Preview. So as you go through the Bing search engine, you're always graced with a really nice preview page. You're able to see a lot of the results pages before you actually click through and go to those sites. The Bing Preview bot is really all about indexing and finding and providing that additional information as you go through your typical search query. So together, all of these are working on the Bing side to really index the web, which sounds, I'm going to say that, and it sounds like an easy job. It's an absolutely enormous job. There are billions and billions and billions of web pages that we're constantly scrolling through. So let's talk a little bit more specifically on how search engines really work. The first step, we said this earlier, crawling websites. Again, the crawler is going to move through indexing every page that it is able to come to and access. That is why a lot of these links, we're going to talk about the importance of linking to different pages and to different sites. That's why this is such a fundamental and important stage when we think through site architecture and how to ensure that our site is really well represented. Linking is absolutely important. The next step is that Bing is going to go ahead and again build a vast repository of all these indexed pages. The idea is Bing needs to be able to reference back, okay, somebody's searching for information on this particular topic. I know we saw that a week ago. We stashed that here. Here's the information about it. We know what kind of images, we know what kind of video content is there. This is the best representative of that information. Let's go ahead and serve that back. So again, it's going through its index of pages and it's going to assign relevancy. It's going to say, based on things like how high quality is that content, how fresh is that content, is there a lot of particular new blog information that's been written recently? And it's going to go ahead and say, okay, this seems like the most relevant page. Let's go ahead and serve that back to the user. And then the final step is determining the ranking. And this is where, again, we're very concerned with this at the end of the day, is now that Bing has gone through, it's crawled pages, it's created its index, it's figured out what is more or less relevant. It's going to go ahead and stack rank these down the search engine results page. So when you go to Bing and you search for a particular term or phrase, you're going to see what has been assigned as the most relevant result. And when we think about what's most important to us as site owners, obviously being towards the top of the page is great because what it means is that we're more visible and we want to be seen for the right relevant searches. Bethany, we talked a lot about relevancy yesterday in our Bing ad session, but in terms of relevancy and search engine optimization is absolutely fundamental, right?
Yes, I'm going to say relevancy at least 50 times during the day today.
That's okay. No one's going to judge you for that. All right, great. Well, that being said, I want to show quickly, again, this is absolutely foundational and absolutely something I want to key in on because we will continue to build on this concept throughout the day. These are another way to look at our three fundamental views of search engine optimization. The first one, accessibility. Our job is to tell Bing, make Bing understand what kinds of materials are on our site. Make sure that the search engine can properly understand and rank us appropriately. So, like I said before, is there video content? What's in that video content? Is it related to the business? Is it related to what we're doing as folks start looking for, for video content or whatnot? Images, are they well tagged and labeled? Are we able to understand? Is Bing able to understand what we're all about, and can it access all of these pages through links and whatnot? Good user experience, again, absolutely important as well, and we touched on this because if users are not able to move through the site appropriately, if engagement is low, these are all things that lead to a poor user experience, and Bing wants to assign relevancy and better ranking and indexing to those sites that are easier to use. And then in terms of quality content, again, we should start keeping a ticker of how many times we're going to say content and relevancy today. But quality content, absolutely important. And not just that the content is quality, but that we are structuring it and putting it together well on the page. When we think about the titles of the pages, the headers of the pages, the actual material or verbiage on the page, is it well representative of what that searcher is looking for? All of these things really come together to ensure that the search experience is good and that we are producing a really good result. Now, as we start talking about, again, site structure and how a search engine is really indexing the web, we got to keep in mind websites are absolutely beautiful these days. There's beautiful imagery, like I said, video content, all sorts of additional information that we're seeing through these sites. So here's a real quick image of what Bing might see. This is a PowerPoint website talking through the product. And we got nice glossy images. We've got really nice deep linking to other sections of the site. Well, what is Bing actually able to see? It's looking at the code of the page. It's looking at descriptions of what these images are. It's looking at organizational cues to how the content in the site is structured itself. And so when we think about how to index well and how to ensure that Bing is seeing our site the right way, we need to think about this. How does our site appear? How does our site appear on the back end? What is Bing able to articulate based on how we've structured the actual code of the site? And so that's where things like, again, talking through properly structuring the way content is showing, ensuring that if there are headers, if there are description tags, all of these types of things enable not just Bing to understand what's on that page, but the user itself. And all of these things factor into how Bing is going to index and therefore rank our site. So without further ado, let's talk a little bit about ranking factors. And again, this is a huge, very, very large subject matter. This is something that there is debate about year after year. And that being said, ranking factors are really pretty black box. Bing doesn't come out and tell us absolutely what are the most important signals. We know that there's a lot of them. And so what ends up happening, for those of you that are new to search engine optimization, there are a lot of third parties out there that go through and assign and determine basically what they feel are the strong ranking factors for that year. And so how do you do that? Well, we can't go in and we can't open the hood of the Bing search engine and see how the search algorithm works. Instead, what we're doing is we're saying, well, you know what? I know that these different websites, 1, 2, and 3, rank really well for these particular search queries. Let's look at all the facets of those sites and understand, and this is across thousands and thousands and thousands of sites, what are the different factors that play really well and probably contribute to why these are ranking so much higher than others. And so they start looking at correlation between things like social shares. We start looking at things like, are keywords well represented in the actual title of the page, in the headers of the page, in the actual site content. And so there's all of these factors that are measured and correlated against. And at the end of the day, there's sites like Moz.com, I'll talk about them a bit today, Search Metrics. They put together a very, very comprehensive list of all these ranking factors, and you can see year over year which things are correlating better or worse to higher rankings, essentially. What helps the site index really well. It's not perfect science, but it is absolutely a great way to really understand, again, what's working well, what's not working as well, and what should we be keying in on year after year. The purpose of today is to talk through a lot of the fundamental ranking factors and how we can use things like keyword research to assure that we're doing the really fundamental things. But you'll see a lot of you, if you start looking for some of these other explanations of ranking factors, you'll see social implications are taking a really huge leap this year and last year. And you can see all of the different ways that these provide a bigger impact. So this slide really intended to allow you to see, what do we know plays a huge part in search engine optimization? What are some of the new factors that are coming out? What are some of the new ways that we need to make sure that we're taking into account? And then what are all the things that are no longer as important or don't seem to be important? And we know that, again, because engines like Bing go ahead and tell us through announcements and blog posts that certain factors or certain components of websites are no longer as important to the algorithm as they used to be. So things like ensuring that meta keywords are included in the site code itself. Ensuring that Bing is able to look and see what are all the keywords associated with that website. That used to be common practice years ago, no longer a real ranking factor today. Some of the things that we know are really strong factors, so things like, again, the presence or position of keywords in the title tag. So as you look through, as you browse the web, you go to a certain web page, the keywords that you searched on, if they are present and they are very apparent in the title tag, that's really optimal. It's something that we're going for. And we will talk, Bethany, right, about some of the best practices around structuring those title tags and other meta tags really appropriately. So again, this is just to give everybody an idea of how this comes together. Use this as a reference. I strongly urge you to look through, again, do a quick Bing search, identify what are some of the other third parties that have produced reports on ranking factors year over year. All the 2013 data has been released, obviously, for this year. It's really interesting to see, A, what do they consider the really important factors, and B, how well are you or your site configuring or falling in line with what those factors are. So that being said, that is the end of Module 1. We're going to take a quick 10-minute break, and when we come back, we're going to get into all of the fun of keyword research and why that is so important as we build out sites.